If you're online in India, listen up, because the rules of the game have just totally changed. We're talking about your personal data, and in this explainer, we are going to break down exactly what that means for you.
So, let me just ask you straight up. You now have new rights over your digital footprint, but do you actually know what they are? It's a really critical question, and by the end of this, you're going to have the answer. All right, let's dive right in. The star of our show is the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, or the DPD Act for short. Think of it as the new rulebook for data in India. And this is a really big deal. In 2023, after nearly a decade of debate and back and forth, India finally enacted its very first comprehensive law designed specifically to protect digital personal data. This is a huge, huge step in the country's digital journey. So what is it exactly? Well, the DPDP Act is the framework that now governs how organizations collect, use, and protect your digital information. And here's what's really interesting. Its reach actually extends beyond India. It applies to any company offering goods or services to people in the country, which is a principle kind of like Europe's famous GDPR. The Act introduces two key players that you've got to know. First, there's the data principle, and yeah, that's you, the individual whose data is being collected. On the other side, you've got the data fiduciary. That's any organization, from a small app to a massive corporation, that handles your data. So the bottom line is understanding this relationship, you own the data, and they're responsible for protecting it. Okay, now for the fun part. Let's see how this law actually empowers you. It's not just about setting rules for companies, it's about giving you real, tangible rights. You can think of them as your new digital superpowers. You now have three fundamental rights. First, the right to access. You can go to a company and ask them to show you all the data they have on you. Second, the right to correct. If you see any information that's wrong or out of date, you can have it fixed. And third, the right to erase. You can request that your data be deleted. It's all about putting you back in the driver's seat. Now, this part is a real game changer. It's the new, much higher bar for consent. Gone are the days of companies burying permissions in those super long, confusing terms and conditions that nobody ever reads. Under the DPDP Act, when a company asks for your data, that request has to be free, informed, specific, and unambiguous. You have to know exactly what you're agreeing to, with no gray areas. So, we've covered your rights, but for every right, there's a responsibility. Let's flip the coin and see what companies, those data fiduciaries, are now required to do.
This slide lays out the new safeguards perfectly. Organizations now must limit data collection to only what's necessary for a specific purpose, so no more indefinite data hoarding. This idea, known as data minimization, could have a pretty big economic impact, forcing a shift in business models that have relied on collecting massive amounts of data. And of course, they're legally obligated to process it securely and get that crystal clear consent.
You know, this new law doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's a key piece of a much larger puzzle, India's overall cybersecurity framework. So let's zoom out for a second and see how data privacy and data security are so deeply connected. This simple timeline shows a major evolution. For over 2 decades, the Information Technology Act of 2000 was the main law on the books. It covered stuff like hacking and identity theft, but now the 2023 DPDP Act adds this powerful, modern layer that's focused squarely on personal data privacy, which just reflects how much our digital world has changed. And here's the key takeaway from all this. As data privacy rules get stronger, the need for really robust cybersecurity becomes even more urgent. Think about it. With clear rules about what data is valuable and must be protected, that data becomes an even bigger target for bad actors. Protecting it from hacking, tampering, and fraud is now more important than ever before. Okay, so this is all great information, but what should you actually do with it? Let's bring this all together with a practical digital to-do list that you can follow right now. For every one of us, as individuals, the first step is just to know your rights. Remember, access, correct, and erase. Start paying closer attention to the privacy policies of the apps and websites you use. And of course, practice good digital hygiene. Use strong, unique passwords for different accounts, and please, enable multi-factor authentication wherever it's available. And if you're a business owner, a creator, or part of any organization, your checklist is a bit different. Your top priority is to make sure your data handling processes are compliant with the new act. This means doing regular data audits, investing in secure systems, and, this is a big one, training your entire team on these new data protection responsibilities. So we'll end with this thought. This law is really just the beginning. As technologies like artificial intelligence and big data analytics become more and more powerful, the principles in this DPDP Act are going to become the foundation for everything that comes next. How these rules are applied, and crucially, how effectively they're enforced across a billion-plus users, well, that's what will truly shape India's digital destiny. It's a space we all need to watch.